Today in episode 2, we're going to talk about the intake manifold. So with this design, I was going for really just where I'm going to have my turbo piping, and also I wanted to utilize the factory power steering pump location. They don't really make a intake manifold for rear-wheel drive that you can maintain the power steering pump. So that's why I went ahead and made my own. And one of the reasons why they don't make that is because with the Miata swap, they want you to depower your power steering rack. That involves cutting off the pressure lines off your rack. But I am actually going to cut one of them, rotate it to the bottom, re-weld it on, so it won't interfere with the pan. It won't be below the oil pan, so it won't be the lowest point of the car, and I'll be able to run power steering. That's kind of why I did it. I've always also wanted to make an intake manifold, so that's how it came out. It came out pretty good for the first time making one. It is for a boosted application, so design isn't really super critical. I probably wouldn't run this design all motor, but who knows, maybe it would work pretty good. And they do make a power steering pump relocation, so you put it to the bottom, but I think that also interferes with the steering rack. And which is kind of interesting because they do make a tuck AC pump that doesn't interfere with the steering rack, so that's kind of odd. But I would like to maintain that just in case one day I do want to run AC. I can still run all the factory stuff and a regular tensioner. The problem with those other, they put like the EP3 pulley, or they make a solution where you just put a pulley here. They don't really have a tensioner, and if they do have a tensioner, you have to manually tension it. So I do like the auto tensioner, so I'm just going to utilize that. I'm not going to re-engineer everything. And then I don't know if you saw the last episode, but if you didn't, check it out. I talk about how I converted the B series throttle body to Miata cable pulley. I go through how I did that, and then how I converted the K series map to B series, and why I did that. And so yeah, so now I have rear-wheel drive intake manifold, can maintain power steering, the Miata throttle cable pulley with the correct distance for the cable stop. And so all I have to do is hook up the factory cable to the factory gas pedal, and it'll work all correctly. Yeah, and I have this little plastic cover that covers all the ugliness that the factory motor has. So it kind of looks factory. So we'll see how it works. I also welded a thick plate on the back from my vacuum and pressure references. 4 should accommodate everything I need. I'm assuming, regulator, blow-off valve, wastegate, and brake booster. I don't think I need anything more than that. I didn't hook up or weld a plate for idle air control, but I'm gonna see how it does without it, and then if I do feel the need to have it, then I will just drill another port on the back, or tee it somehow, because I really only need a feed and a return. Or I think you just bleed atmosphere. I'm not really sure. They have so many different types. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. In the next episode, we'll talk about the turbo manifold. It's also going to be a budget friendly if you have any kind of fab skills. And originally I was going to go NA, but then I realized, like, if I go all motor, then I'm going to make an exhaust, and I know I'm only going to go turbo after that, like, instantly, because that's how I am. I just got to boost everything. So I decided to go turbo right off the bat, so I don't have to re-engineer the exhaust and downpipe and so on. So this way, budget turbo manifold, make a downpipe, later on fab a custom tubular manifold, and just use the old budget manifold as a jig. More on that later. But anyway, still plenty more episodes to go. Waiting on parts, waiting on the adapter plate to go from K to LS. And since I already had an LS swap, and I went from T56 to CD09, I'm now gonna go CD09, T56, and then T56 to K. The reason why I did that is so I didn't have to buy another clutch. The K series will probably never max out the giant T56 clutch. That thing's rated for 800 foot-pounds. So yeah, pretty cool. If you have any questions or comments or anything, just leave it below and I'll try to answer any of that stuff. Definitely down to help anybody trying to do a budget K swap. Little teaser for episode number 3. What was that? Oh, oh, oh.